Okay, so I'm gonna try to make this as quick as I can because I'm making these videos very long, but we're gonna work on exporting these animations. So we've created the animations that we know we need to replace, and now I want to get these into Enfusion and get them into the correct slots on the instance. So I'm gonna go to export Enfusion TXA. Pretty self-explanatory where you want to save it to. We're going to find our mods. I put it in the same folder as the weapon. I'm going to create a new folder. The animation structure for Bohemia is weird. They have an animation folder and then an extra folder called A&M. Don't know why. We're just going to mimic. It's going in there. Okay, sometimes the tools glitch out and do that. Okay, so, and then you select where your export profiles are, and then we can show exports for the first one. And we need to select an export profile for it. So what the heck is that? Export profiles. There is a bunch of them. They have numbers. They're all different names, stuff like that. Let's open up one. Let's go with rifle bolt rack. I'm going to open this up. We're going to take a look at it. Okay, so if you've done model configs for Arma 3, if you've done any weapon animations for Arma 3, this should look similar. To me, it's kind of the same setup that Arma 3 had, in which you're declaring a bone and then what it's a child of. So in this case, we have the root bone. The root bone is a child of nothing. And then we have the bolt bone. What's that a child of? It's a child of the root. Charging handle, child of the root. Okay? This little extra part here, I have not actually read this anywhere. I just kind of, I think it's translation, rotation, absolute. Translation, rotation, absolute. Some of these export profiles might have, it might not say absolute. Let's go to something that's like a differential one, I think. No, it just happened to be, additional, got it. Right, this is a differential animation. We have translation, rotation, differential. I'm not even going to try to explain the difference between differential and absolute, because I consider myself a beginner too. So I'm not going to explain something to you guys that I don't fully understand myself. But we don't need any of that. What we need to know for the export profile is that's telling us what bones are going to be moving in this animation, and it's going to look at it and be like, okay, you want the translational movement and you want the rotational movement, and you want that to be an absolute value. So for the bolt pose, I just need something that's going to give me the bolt. I'll type in bolt. What do we have here? We have rifle bolt rack. That's probably good enough. We can go to 740 here, the rifle bolt rack, and let's take a look at what's in it. We have the bolt, and we have the charging handle. Well, my bolt and charging handle are the exact same thing. If you had an M16, it might not be. So you can see that differential. But I should be able to use that just fine because it's including my bolt bone. So I'm going to do that. What do I want the file name? I've already named my actions the appropriate file names. So if I leave nothing here, it's going to take the action name. You can overwrite this with whatever name you put here if you need to. And differential pose. It's not a differential animation, as we just saw in there. These are all absolute, so we don't need any differential pose there. So I'm not going to touch that. and then going to hit export. I'm going to cross my fingers. Okay, it's exported. So I go here. We're going to go into our folder, and we found our animation. I'm going to register and import it. And now if I open this animation, you're going to see nothing there. We can throw a model into the scene. We know this is for our AKS. Look at that. We have that animation playing right here, and it's in the correct location. That's great. So if we go here to our file, I can replace my bolt pose animation. One thing I want to note before I go replacing that, the original animation, the vanilla one for just the AK-74, there's no events here. So I don't need to replace anything there. You'll see what I mean when I get to the rack bolt animation. So I look for my new animation, I throw it in there, ta-da, everything works in here. I'm going to copy this, I'm going to do the same for prone, because for the weapon animation, prone and standing, there's no difference at all. So I'm going to fast forward through it, but I'm going to do the exact same thing for the rest of the animations. So I'm picking export profiles, which just by its nomenclature, I'm hoping it has all the right bones in it. I don't normally go and check. I know all weapon animations are, none of them are differential, so I don't have to worry about filling in the differential pose. And again, I've already named the actions correctly. I'm just going to export all these, and it's going to take a little bit. JK, since it's a weapon animation, it's extremely quick. I'm going to import all these, okay, and then I can start to fill in my my animations that are broken here. So we're going to go to fire. I want that trigger pulled, and I want that bolt moving. I have no events here, so I don't need to keep a mental note of this. Fire, triggers pulled, bolts in the correct position. Copy that over. Idle was fine. Idle finger was fine. Insert mag. This should just be a mag release. Now this is our first one where we have events here. I'm going, when you see me import our new animation, it should fix that mag release issue that we have here, but it's going to erase all these events. These are very important events, so we need to go back in and recreate those when we're done. So I'm going to replace this now. Okay, good. That's working. I will show you the proper way to recreate those events after I get all of these in. Remove mag's fine. Reload action bolt. Again, we have events here. That's important, but I gotta get my animation in. Alright, bolt. Okay. Safety. Nope, that was... About there. Say, ugh. Safe. Full semi. Of course the texture doesn't look good. Trigger's moving a little bit there, but I'm not going to worry about it. The sight. You should see this start to flap around wildly. Not ask, AKS. Sight. Beautiful. Okay, done. Then I think the last one was trigger, which should also have no events in it. For you. Oh, I didn't make a trigger because it's close enough. Okay. So we're going to save this. We're going to save our new animation instance. And now when I go and I look at my prefab, hopefully when I reload it, it is looking not terrible. Ta-da! So it actually looks like a weapon now. That's great. If we jump into game and we're all excited and we want to use it, can't quite use it yet because of, again, those events that I pointed out. My understanding, the events are they trigger a lot of logic in the graph, and they are responsible for kind of telling the game what's going on. So without them, we'll get situations where, as you can see, everything looks good. Bolt's moving. Let's see if the safety's moving. We're going between single and full auto. That's great. If I reloads, it'll probably break pretty quickly. So I'm gonna take some ammunition, and then we're gonna do a reload. So you see our bolt didn't really move there, even though we put in the proper animation. That is because we do not have the proper events on that. So we need to go do that. Okay, so I like to do this. We'll do insert mag first. I like to do this by pulling up again, what I'm basing it off of, and then going to mine. And first things first, I just want to see 73 frames. 73 frames. Great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go through one by one and put these events in the right spot. Our first event is a blend in, which you can see the events down here. Blend in at frame 16, and we got to make sure all of these settings are the same. A lot of them will fill in on their own. So we go to frame, what was it, 16? Yes, frame 16, and I'm going to add an event, and it's going to be called blend in, just like that. I think that was all for the event. So when I do this, you'll see this option opens up save changes to the animation file. This is going to add this event to that TXA animation file. So after you add these events in, even if I need to go and change the animation and come back and re-import it, it should keep all this information as long as I save it. So I like to save after every event that I have, just because this is the most tedious part and it's kind of obnoxious. So if Workbench crashes, I get very upset. 29. What was this event? Weapon spawn magazine. Okay. I'll go here. Weapon spawn. And usually you know you put it in correctly because the color will change. These are events that the game recognizes. So if the color changes, that means you put in the right one. You didn't make a typo. We have sound. Sound is usually, there's a little bit more that you got to put into it. So the sound on 38, the event is sound, and then the user string has to be put in correctly so it can reference the correct sound file. So we have sound, reload, mag, insert. Oop, not what I want. So I put it on the wrong frame. I can just go in here and change it. It'll move it wherever I want. Right, 38. We have a sound reload mag insert. Was I correct? Wow, somehow remember that. User int is 1. Can't tell you what it does, but 9 times out of 10, if you mimic what BI did, you're going to be in good shape. Okay, that sound is done. Mag release. Weapon mag release at 47. So I'll go to 47. I'm going to add an event here. Weapon mag release. Good. I'm going to save that really quick because I do not want to be doing this again. Weapon attach magazine at 54. You can always double check in here. Usually if there's any extra data that needs to go in, it'll show up in the line here so you don't have to bring it down. What was it, 54? Right? Weapon attach magazine, got it. Weapon attach magazine, it's like a greenish color. Oh. Yeah, that looks right. Different green colors. Don't know why. Weapon underscore attach magazine. Okay, looks fine. I don't know if the color difference is going to be an issue. And then blend out 2 on the last frame, frame 72. That's what we'll do here. Last frame 72. We're going to do blend out 2. Okay, I'm going to save that. So we've added the events to this. That's great. We've saved it to the animation, so now we don't need to do it also to prone. It should just be on both of these. And now I'm going to do the same exact thing to the reload action bolt. Okay, so just save that. We have all the events in the proper spots for all of our animations that need it. We're going to test one more time in game. Okay, so we have we've put it in game. I just depleted the whole magazine. Now when I reload, I should see the bolt move on pull. Perfect. One more time. There you go. So now the weapon has proper animations. The sights are off. This is something that I will fix later, but in a later video we're just going to kind of do some housekeeping. But for the most part, this has been a big issue area for people, is getting these animations working. And I hope this really helps people.